7,000 jobs cut. A $2 billion plan to gut costs from one of the largest tool companies on Earth. And the first thing to go, the metal gearbox inside your power tools, replaced with plastic that dissipates heat at 1/100th the rate of steel. A 30-year industry rep confirmed the strategy was deliberate. Only 4 brands refused. What's protecting them reveals exactly what went wrong with everyone else. 7,000 names struck from payrolls. A $2 billion cost-slashing campaign signed off in boardrooms far from any factory floor. In Connecticut, 300 workers at the New Britain plant received notice. Their jobs would be gone by February 2026, ending 180 years of continuous toolmaking on that site. The layoffs did not stop at one state or one brand. Across the globe, Stanley Black Decker's plan swept through facilities targeting thousands for termination, probationary and veteran alike, under the banner of a 15% per unit cost reduction. The stated logic was efficiency. Close the oldest plants, consolidate production, and move assembly lines to lower-wage countries. Milwaukee, once a symbol of American tool reliability, began shifting gearbox manufacturing offshore in 2024, chasing cheaper labor and materials. The New Britain closure alone was forecast to save $120 million each year, a fraction of the promised savings, but a devastating blow to workers and the city's tax base. Inside the industry, the reality was clear. A former sales representative with 30 years' experience described the new corporate playbook. The move to plastic and the layoffs go hand in hand. They want tools that can be built faster, at less cost, with no plan for repairs. Once the service centers are gone and the legacy models are discontinued, you're forced to buy new every time something breaks. Behind every layoff notice and shuttered plant sits a broken promise that cheaper tools would serve just as well, that the loss of skilled jobs was an unfortunate side effect, not the main event. For tradespeople who once relied on rebuildable, metal-geared machines, the human cost of cost-cutting is measured in more than just dollars. Heat is the silent killer inside a power tool. Metal gearbox housings, whether steel or aluminum, conduct heat away from the gears and bearings at rates between 45 and 60 watts per meter Kelvin. Plastic housings, by contrast, struggle to move heat. Most register between 0.2 and 0.4 watts per meter Kelvin. In lab tests, a metal gear drill running at full load stabilizes near 55 degrees Celsius, while its plastic-housed counterpart climbs past 85 degrees Celsius in under 10 minutes. That extra heat accelerates wear, softens polymer parts, and shortens bearing life, especially during extended drilling or repetitive torque spikes. Drop tests expose another weakness. Metal gearboxes routinely survive impacts from 1.5 meters, sometimes higher, without cracking or losing alignment. Plastic housings, even with glass fiber reinforcement, often fail under the same conditions. The difference is not academic. On a job site, a tool dropped from a ladder must keep working. When the gearbox case fractures, the entire tool is lost. Durability numbers tell the same story. Metal gearbox drills average 2,500 operating hours before failure in standardized ISO cycle testing. Plastic-housed models typically reach 1,200 hours. That means tradespeople relying on plastic gearboxes face double the risk of mid-job breakdowns, lost time, and unexpected replacement costs. Serviceability is where the gap widens further. A field technician can open a metal gearbox, replace worn gears or bearings, and have the tool running again in 45 minutes. Many plastic gearboxes are sealed shut once the housing cracks or the internals strip. The only option is to throw the tool away. For professionals, this is not just inconvenient. It is a forced shift from repair to replacement. engineered into the product by design. The numbers are clear. What looks like a small material change on the spec sheet can mean the difference between a tool that lasts years and one that fails before the job is finished. Hilti stands apart in a market driven by quarterly targets and disposable design. Founded in 1941 and still owned by the Hilti family trust, the company answers to no outside shareholders. This independence shapes every aspect of its engineering and service. Hilti's flagship cordless drills and rotary hammers all feature machined steel or aluminum gearboxes, a fact spelled out in their technical data sheets and backed by a patent portfolio that includes advanced torque management and cooling systems. Field service manuals list every replaceable part by number, gears, bearings, even the housing itself, making rebuilds routine instead of rare. For contractors, the difference is more than technical. Hilti's direct-to-job site sales model guarantees access to a 4-year warranty and a loaner tool program that keeps crews working. Internal service data from 2024 shows Hilti tools maintained an average of 85% uptime across North American concrete crews, with most repairs handled in under 48 hours. A Hilti service manager describes the approach simply: if a gearbox fails, we fix it. If it can't be fixed, you get a replacement on site. No exceptions. Festool, meanwhile, operates under the TTS Tool Technik Systems family, another private German group that refuses to chase big box volume. Every Festool drill and sander aimed at professionals is built around a full metal gearbox, often using proprietary alloys and precision machining. More than 350 active patents cover everything from their EC-Tech brushless motor architecture to the low backlash planetary gear sets that define the brand's reputation for smooth, controlled torque. Festool's dealer-only distribution model is strict. No sales to mass retailers, no dilution of service standards. A master joiner and longtime Festool dealer describes the support network as old world. Tools are registered by serial number, repairs are tracked, and a loaner is dispatched for any downtime. The result is a system built for tradespeople who depend on their equipment for a living, not for a marketing campaign. In an industry where most brands have sealed their gearboxes and cut off field repair, Festool's commitment to all-metal, serviceable construction stands as a deliberate rejection of the disposable tool economy. Metabo stands as a rare exception in a market overrun by plastic. Founded in Nürtingen, Germany, and now majority owned by the ZH Group, Metabo's engineering philosophy is defined by its triple reduction, all-metal gearbox, a design protected under U.S. Patent 10,750,321. This architecture delivers torque in 3 stages, distributing load evenly across hardened steel gears. The result is a drill that maintains output and alignment even after years of hammering through concrete and steel. In technical validation, Metabo's premium drills consistently meet or exceed a tolerance of plus or minus 0.1 millimeter, a figure that speaks to both manufacturing precision and long-term reliability. A senior Metabo engineer describes the approach as overbuilt by design, citing standardized cycle tests where their flagship models surpass 5,000 hours of operation without catastrophic gearbox failure. The distinction between Metabo and Metabo HPT is not cosmetic. Metabo HPT, once known as Hitachi Power Tools, operates as a separate entity under Koki Holdings, with its own supply chain and product standards. Only the original German Metabo line maintains the full metal, serviceable gearboxes that have become a benchmark for industrial users across Europe and North America. Mafell, meanwhile, carves out a different niche. This family-owned German firm produces no consumer tools, focusing instead on high-precision track saws and heavy-duty planers for professional woodworkers and contractors. The MT55 series, Mafell's flagship track saw, is built around a machined steel gearbox engineered to withstand more than 5,000 hours of continuous use. Endurance testing logs, often referenced by Mafell's test engineers, show the MT55 maintaining positional accuracy within 0.1 millimeter, even after repeated drops in thermal cycling. For contractors, these numbers are not marketing fluff. They translate into tools that stay on spec and in service, year after year, on job sites where a cracked housing or stripped gear means lost income. Both Metabo and Mafell rely on a network of authorized dealers who stock replacement gear sets and offer on-site repairs. For tradespeople, this means downtime is measured in hours, not weeks. The contrast with mass-market brands is stark. While conglomerates optimize for volume and disposability, these companies continue to build for longevity, precision, and real-world serviceability. Contractors once had a middle ground, a tool that balanced price and reliability without demanding a second mortgage. That safety net is vanishing. The Craftsman V-Series, long favored for its metal gearbox and field-serviceable design, is set to exit shelves in 2025. With its removal, the gulf between entry-level and true professional tools has become impossible to ignore. A recent retail survey puts the average big-box cordless drill with a plastic gearbox at $130. Step up to a Hilti or Festool, and the price jumps to $320 or more, nearly 2.5 times higher. For small crews and independent tradespeople, that gap isn't just a number, it's a hard limit on what they can afford to put in their trucks. The loss of mid-tier, rebuildable tools means more jobs risk stalling when a plastic case cracks or a sealed gearbox fails. The market now asks contractors to choose between disposable tools and a premium buy-in, with nothing left in between. 12% tariff on imported steel has quietly raised the cost of every metal gearbox built for the American market. For most brands, the response has been predictable. Swap steel for polymer, bypass the tariff, and pocket the savings. Yet the four holdout brands, Hilti, Festool, Metabo, and Mafell, are insulated by a different kind of shield. As private companies, they answer to family trusts and owner-operators, not to shareholders demanding quarterly growth. This structure lets them absorb material price shocks and tariff pressure without gutting their engineering standards. Economic analyst Dr. Samuel Eng puts it bluntly: publicly traded giants are trapped between tariffs and Wall Street. Private brands have the freedom to invest in durability, even when it costs more up front. The result is a market where only a handful of companies can afford to keep building tools for repair, not replacement. Right now, plastic gearboxes dominate store shelves, cheaper to make, harder to repair, and quicker to fail. For tradespeople, that means real risk, more downtime, higher costs, less control. The fight for lasting tools isn't nostalgia, it's survival. The real question: how many more corners will corporations cut before the job cuts back?